Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Global Reality. I'm your host, Josh Reeves. This is the Friday, March 22nd, 2019 edition of the broadcast. Thank you so much for being with me here again for another show. I got plenty to talk about today because I have plenty left over from yesterday that I didn't get to because, as I said yesterday, I had more than I was ever be able to get to in one show. So that's good news. That means we got stuff to talk about today. That's always good. So thanks again for being here with me. And we're going to be discussing various topics and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's happened over the past several weeks since I haven't been on air and stuff. And I've been getting emails and stuff from people wanting to get my comments on certain things. So I will do my best to address everything here on the show for you today. Again, if you have not seen my newest 5-part series, Mystery Hollywood, you are missing out. The stuff I've uncovered and the connections I've made in that 5-part series are beyond anything I've ever done. It's really remarkable. So don't forget to hit the download shop and get yourself some copies of that, as well as all of my other films in there as well. This is my 12th year on air and my 12th year making films. I got 2 more coming out soon, so if you haven't seen everything else in there, Spellcasters 1.5 is great. If you've seen part 1 and haven't seen 1.5, there's some additional connections I made in there, questions I had from volume 1, so it's definitely worth checking out. It's not just cutting room floor leftover stuff. Definitely check that out. That's in the download shop. The Secret Right Volume 1 10-year anniversary edition remaster is in the download shop as well. Get yourself a copy of that. Be sure to subscribe to the archives if you haven't, as I talked about yesterday. Again, with all the YouTube stuff and, not knowing from day to day what shows are going to be allowed to be posted and what aren't. That thing's just a way to be able to make sure you get the shows as soon as they are ready, as soon as they're done, within minutes after being finished. That's why getting a subscription to the archives. We still have met our goal for this week. Our goal for this week is $200. We raised half of that, so please go and contribute. Get your contributions in so we can reach our goal for this week. Because, like I said, it took everything for me to just be able to get back online. I don't have anything to operate with or to be able to, stay alive long enough till I can get these films finished. So it's very important that you make your contributions, buy stuff from the download shop, and get subscriptions to the archives. Because, like I said, don't have commercials here. Don't sell Jew Gold and dick pills and creams and underwear and fucking magic bidets, whatever else these fucking ass hats out there in podcasting world sell. We don't do that. I never have, never will. So the only way we're able to continue is with your support. I talked about the R. Kelly documentary thing that I watched yesterday, and I mentioned the big takeaways, but I forgot to mention the other big takeaway from that. For me, I guess, I just haven't been paying attention. I didn't hit me until now. Didn't notice until I watched that. But it hit me like a ton of bricks when I watched it. And of course, I found out now I'm not the only person to have put that together. Obviously, it's as clear as days. But I had just not come across this. But when I was watching the R. Kelly documentary, one of the people they had speaking in there was the founder of the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke. And I just about fell on the fucking floor, man. Tarana Burke is fucking KRS-One, the rapper. I was wondering what happened to KRS-One. Disappeared off the map like around 2016, like around about the time Trump was elected. I'm telling you right now, that's fucking KRS-One. KRS-One is playing the role of Tarana Burke, the founder of the Me Too movement. It's crazy. And I was blown away to find out that number one, the odds that 2 people in the world would look identical to that, one being a male and then looking identical like a woman in drag, are astronomical. But the biggest takeaway for me was that both KRS-One and this alleged person, Tarana Burke, are both born in the same exact spot in the Bronx in New York. I mean, so if one is not the other, they clearly have to be related and be from the same bloodline. But you look online, there's nothing that says that. The thing that got me though is when you look at the close-ups, and after I put this together and started looking, of course, I was like, yeah, I'm not the only one that's put this together. That's when you know you're onto some shit too. Is when, I mean, I've got lots of stuff that, excuse me, that's going to be coming in the new films that nobody's put together yet. But it's all, which is cool, but it's also cool when you find something, you're like, oh shit, there's no way this can't be true. And then you look it up, you're like, yeah, sure enough. Like I told that Tom DeLay story many times. And I just, I never gave much thought at that time. This was like 2007. I never, gave much thought to the whole reptilian thing until I had that encounter with Tom DeLay. And I saw his eyes turn black and, he scanned us up and down and all that shit. And I immediately went home and like, after that happened, I immediately went home and I said, man, I don't know. Like, I never thought anything about this whole, and I've talked about that in the Spellcasters thing too. I still don't believe in the whole reptilian thing. What the reptilian thing is actually the Thetans, like Scientology demons, essentially is what it is. That's what an active Thetan is. In Thetan activation, it's these spirits and these souls that they can, through these different black magic incantations, bring about in a person and use it to control them. Freemasonry at the very highest levels, not the low Blue Lodge levels, no, not the local, 3-degree Blue Lodge shit. I'm talking about the high upper echelons. Same thing there. And the readings and stuff that you have to do, just like in Scientology, Mormons also have this as well. There's a lot of offshoots of it, but essentially the texts and the way that the text, like if you open up, if you read any of Morals and Dogma, you start to understand that that's what it is. The phrasing, the sequencing, they're designed in a way, they're incantations. So when you read them, even if you don't read them out loud, but especially if you read them out loud, whoo. As you go up each successive level, that's what the whole soul cracking thing has to do with, that L. Ron Hubbard's son talked about, that I had in the Spellcasters Volume 1. Slowly you're opened up, and eventually when you get to a certain level, you're basically fully controlled by demonic entities. So, anyway, I was so shocked when I went home and looked. I was like, I wonder if anybody else has thought this thing about Tom DeLay. And fucking, I'll never forget this. This was 2007 too. I'll never forget this. Went home and looked it up, and it said, I just typed in Tom DeLay reptilian, and the fucking first thing that came up was like a list of like known reptilians, and it said, High Reptilian Overlord Commander Tom DeLay. And I was like, holy shit, somebody else has, yeah. Obviously there's something to that. You know what I mean? There's just no way it could be a coincidence somebody would just say that. But again, like I said, now, same thing I experienced with Alex Jones and the rest of this. It's these Thetans, and then you have different handlers and stuff, and different people who can basically turn them on and turn them off. But it's just hilarious. But yeah, when you start looking at the pictures of the whole, I was looking at it, I was like, man, somebody else got to put this together. Looked it up. Sure enough, a lot of other people already put that together with the whole Tarana Burke and KRS One thing. But it's interesting because if you look through the close-ups, I mean, their bottom row of teeth are both jacked up in the exact same spots. And I was wondering, because he was a big, conscious rapper for a lot of years. I remember he came out and he supported Ron Paul for president. Alex Jones had him on. And I kind of figured, I remember thinking this like about a year ago, like, where's KRS-One? I figured, in the time of Trump, somebody like KRS-One, that's the lowest fucking hanging fruit, You know what I mean? That's like, Trump's like the lowest hanging fruit. You should be obvious that somebody like KRS-One, he's not around. Son of a bitch, man, when I watched that documentary, I was like, holy fuck. That's what happened to him. I'm like, that's what fucking happened to KRS-One. He is now, that's why you're not seeing him, hear from him. He's playing the acting role of Tawana Burke. For the founder of Me Too. It's unbelievable. Type KRS-One Tarana Burke into Google Images and go look at the pictures. I'm telling you. And again, this is not something I'd ever heard anybody else say. I wasn't thinking I was the first one to think it, but after I looked it up, I was like, holy shit, yeah, there's more proof than I even imagined. Listen, if one's not the other, these motherfuckers need to do some 23andMe up in here or something to find out their freaking heritage, because I don't know. Now, I mean, the chances that their bottom row of teeth would be fucked up in the exact same spot, that's what got me. Nobody ever wants to believe this shit. I'm telling you, man, we're living in fucking Fruit Loopville. And exactly what keeps it perpetuating is people's lack of being able to even accept how wacky and crazy this stuff is. They don't want to accept it. Like I talked about yesterday. I mean, there's plenty of people out there that know this shit's true, but they just don't want to hear about it, don't want to accept it. Man. Yeah, that was a crazy one. Now, other people have been asking about the whole New Zealand shooting thing. Hey, it's funny how quickly that shit went off the fucking radar, isn't it? How quick they dropped that shit. And that shit just happened like Sunday, and it's, by Wednesday it was already off the fucking out of the news cycle. I wonder why that is. How come we have these other mass shootings? They're hitting us with shit on it every day for months and months on end. Well, this one was definitely a different kind of deal. And, there's, of course, you've got, right, well, you got people, even Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh's on the air now using the term false flag. When the fuck did that start? Rush Limbaugh calls it a false flag by left-wingers. Left-wingers are saying it was white supremacists. And this guy has made it abundantly clear, if you paid attention to anything he said, this guy ain't either one. This guy's a fucking chaos agent. 100%. This is not your normal. If this was one of your regular mind-controlled shooters, this guy would be dead. This is not a government-sponsored act. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is we are now reaping what the internet has sown. This guy is the first real, legitimate mass murdering troll. This guy is a fucking internet troll. I used to kick guys just like this guy out of chat rooms all the time back in the day. This guy has pitting everybody against each other. He's throwing up the OK white supremacist sign thing that everybody argues about. He's saying that his allegiance is to China. And he's shouting out PewDiePie, telling him to subscribe to PewDiePie on YouTube. This guy is a fucking mad genius serial killer. They are going to be writing books about this fucking guy for years to come. Bundy, Manson, Gacy, they got nothing on this guy. This guy is a fucking chaos agent. He is turning everybody against everybody, making everybody blame everybody. This guy's an evil genius. I hate to fucking give the guy any credit because obviously he's a murdering scumbag, but this is not the normal mind control, false flag shooting situation here, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually a chaos agent. he's murdering Muslims. He's saying he's fucking allegiant to China. He's, shouting out MAGA. And then look what happened with the guy. You hear about the guy? This is crazy because this is happening a lot. But for two to happen back to back, did you hear about the guy last week that killed the mob boss in New Jersey? And then when they got him arraigned and brought him in court, he was doing the same shit that the New Zealand shooting thing guy was. He wrote MAGA forever all over his hand, was writing all these slogans and claiming like he's, repping with Trump. And of course, they'll say, oh, that's left-wing mind control, conspiracy too. No, man. No. This is the reaping. This shit is the reaping of what all the disinfo campaigns and the propaganda and the societal programming and trying to get everybody on the left and right team. This is what the trolling and all this shit has sown. That's why they're trying to ignore this guy. If this guy was one of their mind control shooters, he would have been dead already. This is somebody who's trying to stir the pot, and he's a chaos agent, 100%. And you're going to see more of this, a lot more of this. This is just the first one. Because this is what people have been pushed to now. Again, people have figured out that left, right doesn't matter. They're all bought and paid for. They're all controlled by the same corporate entities and everything else. People have figured that out, and now you've got chaos agents who are tired of all of it. And, you get something like this terrible thing that happened. But as terrible as it is, I see exactly what would cause something like this to manifest, and I can exactly see what this guy was trying to do. You're not going to see this guy plead temporary insanity. This guy was not insane. This was carefully thought out. This guy knew what he was doing. And his desired effect was to get everybody pitted against each other. The left wants to have the right take responsibility. The right wants to make the left take responsibility. This guy's a chaos agent. This was specifically done and concocted to cause mass confusion and chaos. They're going to be writing books about this guy for years to come, I'm telling you. Unbelievable. Really is one of the craziest, aside from the Las Vegas mass shooting, which was, that's another crazy one. Because that's another one that wasn't the standard operating. That's the interesting thing I think about all these shootings that have happened since Trump has been in office. They've had a different flavor and a different modus operandi than all the other cases that we look at where we can say, okay, the guy in Colorado and all, et cetera, all these different cases where it's clear, there were multiple shooters. You had the Patsy, mind control Patsy. It seems like that same sort of thing they've been doing since the days of Oswald has all of a sudden changed since the Trump era. It's very, very interesting. These aren't the same. Of course, the powers that be in the media and the people, the anti-gun lobby and all that, they'll still try to use those for their same agendas. But to lump all of these in with those other shootings, man, is a wrong way to go about it. This is different. There's something different going on here, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why the media has dropped this shit like a hot potato within 2 days of it happening. When, again, every other time you've got a mass shooting, they're pumping you with that shit forever. I'll tell you another psychological operation going on. What's her name? AOC? Another psychological operation. They pulled her out of obscurity. You can't look at the news. Ever since she got put in office. You can't look at the news. Every single day you have to see a picture of her face. Every single day. I'm fucking sick of it. She makes me fucking want to vomit. But that's another part of the fucking psychological operation. That's exactly what it is. The same, I mean, they flipped it again. Really, with the Obama administration was the first time that you really had politics where everything was designed for a psychological effect. I talked about this even when he got elected. The first night Obama was elected. Even the name alone, coming right out of that Muslim scare era, right out of 9/11, and all of a sudden, you know, you get the first black president, and he's got a name that sounds suspiciously familiar to Osama bin Laden. You know, Barack Obama, a Muslim-sounding name. Total psychological operation. Oh, but we got to deal with it, and oh, you can't say anything about it because he's a black guy. All of that led to where we're at now, and where we're at now is going to lead to something else, and what it's going to lead to is something way worse than what Bush, Obama, and Trump have so far shown us. That's where it's heading. You can stick your head in the sand like an ostrich and try to ignore it. You can sit there and say, oh, Josh Reeves is just negative. I'm telling you the fucking truth, and the truth ain't fucking gumdrops and lollipops, okay? I've always given it to you straight. I've never given it to you sugar-coated, and I'm never going to start. So you don't like it, that's your problem. That's on you, not me. I tell it like it is. But, yeah, it's fucking crazy. Another thing somebody wanted me to mention and talk about, and they wanted my take on, was the death, the suicide of the comedian Brody Stevens. I got to be honest, I wasn't really a big fan of Brody Stevens. He was just too fucking weird for me and too mental. But I do think there was something suspicious about his death. Absolutely, 100%. So those of you who've been wondering that and wondering what I thought about it, wondering through, you know, what there might be suspicious, something. Yeah, 100% I think it is. And I'll tell you this, it's interesting. The very next day after he hung himself, nobody had any information at that point. It was still early. A lot of people weren't even talking about it on their podcast stuff yet, but the very next day of it happened, Joe Rogan was the first person to go, oh, well, he went off his meds. Like, wait a minute, how do you know that? How do you know that's true, Joe Rogan? You don't fucking know. His home family didn't even fucking know at that point. And then within like a few days of it happening, the police report comes out and said, oh yeah, suicide by hanging due to mental illness. But yet, there was no suicide note. And he really, all his friends, again, same classic stuff, no signs. I'm telling you, man, the curse of the Comedy Store strikes again. There may have to be an installment of the Spellcasters that just deals with comedy and stuff, because it's a big part of this. And then Joe Rogan says, 3 of my friends have committed suicide in the past year. Really? And I've already told you about the stuff I've already been suspicious of him. I heard years ago the rumors about him being connected to the death of Phil Hartman and all that. He didn't name who the other 2 people were, but he said in the past year, 3 people he's known has committed suicide, yet he doesn't name their names. There was no evidence that he went off his meds. Nobody knew that. Nobody really knew that for sure. But here's Joe Rogan saying it like it's a fact the day after he died. That's a red flag. That's suspicious. He didn't leave a note. He was a Comedy Store regular. Here's the thing. You know what slot Brody Stevens did at the Comedy Store? He did the midnight slot. Do you know what the midnight spot is known as? It's known as the Sam Kinison spot. Because that was a spot that Sam Kinison did, and then he died. And then Brody specifically asked for that spot, and then he died. Hey, it's a lot of competition. Knocking somebody else off that schedule makes room for somebody else. Yes, there's a lot of death connected with the Comedy Store. There's been a lot of death connected to it. Even before it was the Comedy Store. I touched briefly on that a little bit in the 5-part Mystery Hollywood presentation. I mean, you look into that what that place was before it was the Comedy Store. It was like the biggest, it was the most popular high-level club for celebrities, and it was run by the mob, and they ran whores out the back of it, and they had a fucking abortion chamber in. They used to fucking, their whores would get pregnant, and they'd fucking coat hanger them out in the fucking back of what is now the Comedy Store. There's been, people been shot there, murdered. It's haunted out the fucking walls. People have seen ghosts there. I told the story about fucking Lily Tomlin and others fucking doing a seance in there and fucking trying to channel Andy Kaufman. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit around this stuff. And this is why Joe Rogan tries to downplay a lot of conspiracies and doesn't bring up certain things. It doesn't want you looking into certain things because he knows that eventually that path leads to looking into things like what I've been talking about with all this. And eventually somebody's going to figure this out. And I think to a great degree, we already have. So yeah, absolutely. Again, I was a big fan of Rhodey Stevens. He, so I'm not going to sit here and act like, oh, I was his biggest fan. Oh, R.I.P. Nothing against him. He just wasn't my style of comedian, but that still doesn't mean that if his death wasn't a fucking suicide, that I'm going to keep quiet about it, especially when listeners ask me about it. So anyway, there you go. Yeah, definitely something shady around that. I've been keeping up with it, keeping up with the info, keep paying close attention to what people have said. There's definitely something suspicious about his death. He didn't have any indicators to any of his friends or family or anything else. His career was going well. Everything was going okay for him. There was no reason why he should have committed suicide. And the fact that he didn't leave a note, that's just not his style either. I mean, the way everybody that knew him has said basically, this guy would have left a fucking novel. Listen to his comedy. Listen to the way he ran his mouth and the things he said. If he was going to kill himself, he would have left novels for people, not just nothing at all. Yeah, man. Curse of the Comedy Store strikes again, 100%. What can I say? I can't deny that. All right. Let's see what we got. We got a big stack. Big old fat fucking stack of news that's been piling up, so let's get it. I've talked about this before. I've seen several of these different types of articles. Back when I did some of those, that's been almost 10 years now. When I originally did some of those, like the Lost Book of Enki readings and stuff like that, and a lot of the stuff that where it talked about the Anunnaki engineering humanity, and multiple references in those readings were made to something they refer to as a switch, whereas in the DNA of humans, the ability of to have a long lifespan were switched off. They made multiple references to certain things in humans during our creation were switched off. And now science has now found, and are now using that term, have found what ways they know how to switch on and switch off. And now they're saying they found what, this is exactly what was described as being switched off in humans in the ancient Sumerian text. Because they were trying to engineer workers, so they need to, pump them through. So the ability to have long life was switched off, and it's now the science is saying they figured out how to switch that thing on. Scientists switch off gene to double lifespan. They're now going to be able to, they now have figured out how to switch that switch that the Anunnaki turned off for long life to double the lifespan of a human. And I think, I guarantee you more stuff like this is going to be happening. But again, as I've talked about before, that just like Zbigniew Brzezinski talked about in '69, the rise of the technotronic era, technological feudalism, the haves and the have-nots. Again, he made it very emphatically clear in 1969 that in the future, people would not be seeking wealth to buy material things. They would be seeking wealth to be able to buy new medical technologies that would extend and enhance life, and in some cases have immortality. It would all be based on whether or not you had the money to pay for it. This is what it's going to be. All these things are going to be available to us over the coming decades. Double lifespan, but it's all going to come with a price, both in terms of financial price and it's going to come in terms of, a spiritual price as well. But just to see them over the past 10 years or so start using these terms that they never used before, never made discoveries before, after I'd read that stuff from the Sumerian text about switching off abilities in humans, there's a way we could figure out how to do it. And that does appear to be what's going on. But again, pay attention to these things and try to follow them, because you'll hear about them and you'll never hear about them again. They may discover this, but do you think that every person in the world is going to have access to know how to be able to know how to do this? No, not a chance. What else? I got a big stack here, so be patient with me as I scroll through it and get to the next thing. I talked about this several weeks ago as well, all the mystery booms happening across the United States specifically, but all across the world as well. Another earthquake reported near Florida-Alabama line. Space Coast rumble still a mystery. Seismologists said a third small earthquake happened across the state line from the Panhandle area, even as questions continue about a mysterious rumble that rattled some homes across the Space Coast. The latest earthquake took place about 1:27 a.m. in Flomaton, Alabama, which sits across the state line just north of the town of Century and 175 miles south of Montgomery. The incident, a 2.3 magnitude earthquake, had a depth of about 3 miles and shook the small town Tuesday night, making it the third earthquake to be detected in the area in less than a week. A 3.1 magnitude earthquake hit near the same Alabama town on Monday. No damage reported either. Again, I've talked about this. Lots of speculation that there's some kind of coming event that whether it be something related to the sun or a space rock or whatever it may be. A lot of speculation going on that the elite know of some kind of event that's coming down the pike that's going to render life on the surface of the earth uninhabitable. And the elite know this, and they are right now in preparations of expanding and creating underground cities and, more importantly, underground highways and tunnels that connect these large cities that we're all going to go into in the event of a coming event they know about that's going to render surface living impossible. Do I believe that? No, I don't 100% believe that. But again, I don't always have to 100% everything I tell you about or information I deliver to you. People ask me questions. They want to know what I think about it. They want to know where I think where it's at. I got to tell you. Again, I'm not saying this is actually, I absolutely 100% believe this. I'm just telling you as a possibility and stuff that I've read and what people think is going on. That's it. Parents blame elementary school cell tower after fourth student diagnosed with cancer. Well, that's where there's smoke, there's fire situation, isn't it? Sounds like this was a fucking test to me. I mean, why the fuck would you put one of those towers that close to a school? And to think this is all just a coincidence now. A fourth child has been diagnosed with cancer at a San Joaquin County elementary school, and parents believe it is because of radiation caused by a cell phone tower. The towers are spread throughout the community, but it's this particular one that parents say need to go. We had a doctor tell us that it's 100% environmental, the kind of tumor that... Okay, I'm back. I don't know what happened there. We had something that got cut off in the middle of that. I don't know what happened, but we're back here. Shit, man, I was on a fucking roll there too. Yeah, essentially the they got a cancer cluster at this school. I fucking lost the article here. That's all right. I'll just move on. But my point is, the point I was making is that this is one of those things. Again, they've tried to keep under wraps and they've tried to ignore. But it's it's finally coming out. People are finally fucking seeing the effects of this stuff. And again, yesterday's conspiracy theory is today's accepted fact. I've said that many times. That's what seems to boggle my mind. They've did this campaign, and the big thing now is exposing what they call, the vaxxers or anti-vaxxers and stuff like that. But hey, look, I think a lot of these people are misinformed. I've never told anybody that their kids shouldn't get vaccinated or anything else. But everybody should be aware that it's not a conspiracy theory that they put things like thimerosal, mercury, live cancer viruses. They put this stuff in flu shots and all kinds of other vaccinations. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. And I remember when I first heard about it 15, 16 years ago, I didn't believe it either until I did the research and found out about it. But, it is an actual thing. And all of this stuff is connected. That's the big thing that people can't wrap their minds around. The cell phone towers making people sick, giving people cancer, the food, the big pharma. This is all connected. These aren't separate things. This is all one big connected web that is designed to control humans' lives and their lifespan cradle to grave. It's not a conspiracy theory that Chase Manhattan Bank and the Rockefellers have for decades had offices inside of all the major pharmaceutical manufacturing companies. It's big business. They want to control everyone's life, cradle to grave, and reduce everyone down at the end of the day to a statistic and a number on a bank sheet where, after when it's all said and done, all your assets, all your money, basically it winds up eventually being back into the coffers of the world financial system. From cradle to grave, they've got us in this matrix system where human life has no value except for what it can reap for this whole corrupt, maniacal system. I mean, it's unbelievable. And that's why so many people don't want to wrap their minds around it. And, people, telling me, oh, you're too negative and this, that, and the other. Listen, man, I shoot you straight. I've always shot you straight. If the truth is negative and dark to you, well, I'm sorry. That's the way it is. I don't have any positive, upbeat words for you when it comes to this stuff. Okay? I don't have any, we're going to fight the power and we're going to fight the New World Order and take it. Listen, I dedicated myself to exposing the truth and trying to get people to wake up to as much stuff as I can and finding stuff that nobody else has found and hopefully sharing that so we can, as a species, expand our knowledge base, because that's the main thing that's keeping all of humanity down is the knowledge that they have versus what we have and have access to. And that's an important thing. That's something that can eventually overthrow the system. But I'm not going to sit here and fucking act like this is some, well, we could win this fight and we're going to take on the powers that be. Listen, that's a fucking pipe dream, okay? They got us. They got me. They got you. We're born into this system that has us until we die. And that's it. But guess what? If we inform ourselves and we continue to not brush everything off as conspiracy theory, we can figure out a way to transcend their system, just like they want to try and figure out a way to transcend the death of the physical body, and they're going to give up their souls and everything else to do it. But you don't have to do that. Just like I talked about it, here it is again. That switch. Here's that switch thing again. Here's another story. Harvard University uncovers DNA switch that controls genes for whole body regeneration. What the? Whoa. Now, this is a totally different article. Now, the other one talked about, okay, the switch for, switching on human lifespans to be double what they are now. That's one thing. Right? If you were going to live to be 80 or 84 and, now you can live to be 168, that's quite an upgrade, isn't it? Now, this shit's saying, and again, all this stuff was talked about in the ancient Sumerian text, and this was all turned off on us and humans. Humans may one day have the ability to regrow limbs after scientists at Harvard University uncovered the DNA switch that controls genes for whole body regeneration. Some animals can achieve extraordinary feats of repair, such as salamanders, which grow back legs, or geckos, which can shed their tails to escape predators and then form new ones in must. Now that's fucking crazy. Oh, man. Well, this is going to get interesting, isn't it? I can't wait to see what the jackass guys do with this when this comes available. Holy shit. You know how good those fucking videos are going to be? Steve will be sticking his fucking head in a fucking metal press and just popping it like a grape. Pop! Oh, yeah, he'd be good. A couple hours to grow back another one. Get pissed off at somebody and just fucking whop! Lob their fucking head off like a Kurgan in the Highlander. There can be only one. Like, damn, why'd you cut his head off? Sick of hearing him fucking run his mouth. Fuck him. His head will grow back in a couple hours. At least until then, I don't have to hear him run that goddamn mouth anymore. Fucking you get in a fucking fight with your wife, she just fucking cuts your fucking arms off. Yeah, fuck him. They'll grow back. Fuck that motherfucker. Oh, man. But again, sadly, just like the ability to switch on the double lifespan, I mean, again, this will be restricted from us. You'll have to have a certain amount of money or you won't be able to get it all. But again, if the positive thing here is that if they're figuring this out, once the cat's out of the bag, the cat's out of the bag. They may try to restrict it, but eventually people are going to figure out how to do this themselves. So this actually is good news. If we figured out how to switch double lifespans, and dude, imagine that. There would be a lot of people getting their dicks cut off. I'm just going to say that right now. There's going to be a lot of motherfuckers getting their dicks cut off if we get the ability to grow limbs back. Telling you that. Fuck that motherfucker. I cut his fucking dick off. Fuck him. That motherfucker will grow back. Fuck you. Shouldn't have been cheating on me, motherfucker. Goddamn. Fuck him. Fuck yeah. I cut that fucking dick off. He'll grow a new one. Fuck him. Man, it's going to get brutal, isn't it? It's going to be fucking funny to see that. What we got going on here, Bob? Well, I don't, he came over here and his dog pissed in my yard, so I went there and cut his fucking head. I cut his arm, his legs, and his head off. Fuck him, they'll grow back. That's fucking hilarious. What else we got? I know there's one in here I've been waiting to get to. I've been foaming at the mouth to get to. Where's it at? Oh, there it is. Oh, this is hilarious. I mean, how fucking many years, ladies and gentlemen, have I been fucking talking about this? And now they're acting like it's just now going to start happening in 2023. Come on. More money was spent on space-based weapons under the Obama administration than was spent ever in the history of the fucking government. And I told you 2 years ago it was going to be increased even more under fucking Trump. And here it is. From defenseone.com, Pentagon wants to test a space-based weapon in 2023. Please. N-word, please. If there was ever a time where you could say the phrase N-word, please, this would be it. Like 2023 is going to be the year when we get, come on. You can go and verify this. And look, they've had these weapons for years, but because of international treaties, they're illegal to have, they're illegal to test, they're illegal to even say you own or are thinking about owning. Defense officials have asked for $304 million to fund research into a space-based lasers, particle beams, and other new forms of missile defense next year. Right, like they don't already have this stuff. They've had this stuff for years. It's been in use for years. But just as I told you years ago, the move is going to, over the next 10 years, is going to be to do away with all these space treaties and everything else in order to get offensive space-based. Well, hey, I didn't come up with this. I'm a fucking Mr. Nazi himself, Wernher von Braun. He was saying this shit in the 70s. First, the threat would be communism. Then it would be third world crazy terrorists. Then it would be space rocks, asteroids, and then it would be the staged alien invasion. All of it would be a lie for the installation of space-based weapons that we would be sold on would be needed to fight off asteroids and aliens, but then would be turned around and pointed back down on Earth, essentially enslaving and keeping people anywhere on the planet under fear of death, of being zapped. And they even fucking, one of the Captain America films a couple of years ago had that in the plot. I mean, they've been moving this way for a long time. But now the move is to try to convince the public for the reasons why these types of weapons are needed in order to do away the treaties, sell the public on the alleged reason why these weapons are necessary, and then use it to gain complete and total global domination. That's the goal. Oh boy, Barack Obama's brother asked if Michelle is Michael. Are we still on that again? It's 2019. I thought we established this a long time ago. Why the fuck are motherfuckers still talking about this shit? He ain't even in office no more, motherfucker. Why are you still bringing it up? Yes, Michelle's a man. Next. Why are we still... Wasn't that fucking established 10 years ago? Give me a fucking break. Of course that's a fucking man. That's a man, baby. Yeah. Of course that's a fucking man. Just like man culture. Look at that Adam's apple. And KRS-One is Toronto Burke. And Alex Jones is still not Bill Hicks. Fuck you. Dumbass motherfuckers. What else we got? Exactly. This is exactly what I told you earlier. The Shooter's Manifesto was designed to troll. Exactly. Violent rhetoric was written for an audience. Exactly. That's the first troll mass murderer, dude. I'm telling you. Guy's an evil genius. Mob burst murder shows MAGA forever. We talked about that already. What else? Hopefully that didn't get cut off. U.S. government teams up with Intel and Cray on $500 million plan to build Project Aurora supercomputer capable of completing 1 quadrillion calculations per second. And I just saw another story where they've got scientists just finally created the liquid metal from the Terminator. Shit, it's on now. Hashtag Skynet, motherfucker. So it begins. 1 quadrillion calculations per second? Motherfucker. And listen, they're not they're not crunching numbers on that thing to figure out how to fucking feed more people or make your taxes lower or make you have more money in your bank account or make your life better. Okay? Let's just fucking put that out right now. They're not building these computers to make your life better. They're not building this computer that can do these calculations. No. This is to give them even more total and utter control. The things that we could do and accomplish with that kind of stuff, and it's all being squandered just to give them more effective ability to be able to control 100% of our lives cradle to grave, just like I talked about earlier. Again, knowledge is the real power in all of this. Sticking your head in the sand like a fucking ostrich is not a solution. Oh, continue here. Bear with me here. I'm having to go through the stack. Continue through the stack. Come on. Babylonian stone looted during the Iraq Wars returned home. Tablet dating back 3,000 years to the reign of Nebuchadnezzar is said to place a curse on anyone who would destroy it. Well, they built the base camp. They were actually rebuilding, in the process of rebuilding Nebuchadnezzar's palace over there right around the time 9/11 happened. And even though there was no proof Iraq had anything to do with 9/11, even if you believe that fucking bullshit official story, the first thing they did was go blow the fucking doors off the Iraq National Museum, go directly to the vaults, take all of the ancient original artifacts, not the decoys they had out in the actual fucking museum that they make you think are real. No, they went and blew the doors off there's footage of this. I'm not making this up. There's fucking footage of it. They blew the doors off the Iraq National Museum. They went in, they took all the artifacts pertaining to the Sumerian, Assyrian, Babylonian, Akkadian empires. They took all of those, and they built up base camp on the fucking ruins where they were rebuilding Nebuchadnezzar's palace. That's where they put down, and then they just demolished and destroyed all of that stuff. I've been talking about this for years. There was another story, too, pertaining to this. Now I'm going to have to fucking go out of my stack to go and find this one, and then I'll be lost on my stack, but that's all right. Where is it? I know you're there somewhere. Come on. There it is. This is fascinating. So everybody knows this picture. You've seen it in documentaries. Hell, I've used it in my documentaries. The famous Assyrian, the winged Anunnaki guy with the fucking wristwatch thing and the pine cone thing. Somehow that motherfucker went to auction and someone paid $31 million for it. And of course we don't know who, but we definitely know why. Because just like I've told you in all my films and even in the newest Mystery Hollywood stuff, these guys are looking for ancient knowledge on how to open these ancient stargates, and they're looking for more information that pertains to the creation of mankind itself, and more importantly, the ability to be able to continue to keep that hidden from us, the general public, because they don't want us finding this stuff out on our own. A rare Assyrian stone relief has been sold in New York for a record-breaking price of $31 million, destroying the previous highest selling price for a piece of Assyrian art. Museums and collectors from all over the world engaged in a bidding war for this rare work of art, resulting in tripling the estimated price of $10 million. The auction is one that was very controversial, as the work of art is being claimed by the government of Iraq. Many people believe the item is a stolen antiquity and should not be sold, but returned to its original home. The relief is believed to be approximately 3,000 years old. It's from the Assyrian culture. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, listen. You know, that stuff was. But listen to this. It says the sale is controversial because many believe in both in the Middle East and in America that the items does not legally belong to the cemetery. They argue this item was illegally taken and it should be returned to Iraq. They believe the Assyrian people have a moral claim to the artwork and that the relief should be returned to them. Many social media support this view. The Iraq Ministry of Culture urged international bodies such as UNESCO to halt the sale, but to no avail. Yeah, well, again, this is going to go into private hands. We know what they're trying to do with this stuff. It's exactly why they went into the Iraq National Museum in the first place. Exactly one of the big reasons why they pulled off 9/11 in the first place. Why was there all kinds of ancient Sumerian artifacts in the basement of the World Trade Centers along with all the gold that we don't know what happened to? No one ever wants to talk about that. They'll talk about the gold all day long. They never want to talk about all the antiquities that were there too. And how it just so happened that we happen to, assign blame for 9/11 to a country where there was no proof that anybody there had anything to do with it. Now you know why. What else? There's so much here. It's like a goddamn fucking tsunami of fucking news stories. It hurts so bad. Police executed elementary school teachers with plastic pellets during active shooter exercise to show the results of doing nothing. This is fucking unbelievable. If you have a kid in a school and they do one of these drills, man, you ought to fucking pull your kid out of that school and sue fucking everybody you can for fucking as much as you can. This is trauma-based mind control. 100%. This is psychological warfare they're doing against elementary school kids. These people ought to be fucking strung up for this. This is unbelievable. You bring fucking armed individuals unannounced into a school. It's not the first time they've done this. And make little elementary school kids think that people are being really shot right in front of them. This is fucked. This is one of the reasons I'm glad I don't fucking have kids. It would just not pay for me to be a fucking parent. Elementary school teachers were left bloodied and nursing bruises and welts after sheriffs sprayed them with plastic pellets during an active shooter exercise. 2 elementary school teachers in Monticello, Indiana. Indiana. Yeah, should have fucking known. Should have fucking known. I don't think Indiana gets quite as much credit for being as fucked as it is that it deserves. It really does. I mean, yeah, really. I'm from the South, so, we take the brunt of the blame for everything. We invented fucking racism. We invented fucking George Bush. We invented killing presidents in broad daylight. And yet nobody ever wants to talk about the fact that the fucking Ku Klux Klan itself wasn't started in Texas or Kentucky or Tennessee or Arkansas. It was started in fucking Indiana. That's a fact. Let's get that out of the way first. 2 elementary school teachers in Monticello, Indiana said they were asked by the sheriff's office to kneel down against the classroom wall before being shot multiple times across the back with the pellets fired at close range. This is what happens if you just cower and do nothing. One of the teachers who asked not to be identified, of course. They know how bad this is. Oh, you notice how they're not proud of this? Oh, why keep your faces? Why keep your identities masked? Huh? Why do that? If this is such a good thing for kids to see enactments of people getting their brains blown out in front of them in elementary school. Okay, this was high school. I might be like, all right, maybe. These are little fucking kids, man. You're traumatizing these kids on purpose because this is trauma-based mind control. This is fucking Stalin, Nazi Germany level fucking bullshit here. And look, all the people, all the cops, they've got all their faces blacked out. Yeah, they don't want anybody to know who really did this because they know fucking people are going to be coming after them. You traumatized my kid if I had a kid, and I'd be coming after you too. You better hide your identities, you fucks. It just pisses me off, man. You know, the fucking bullshit flag waving fucking, you know, Sieg Heil America shit wasn't enough. It just makes me sick. What other bullshit do we got here to talk about? Directed energy weapons are ready for the spotlight. Experts says, oh, directed energy weapons? What? Why are we talking about that? I thought that was a conspiracy theory. Oh, directed energy weapons don't exist. They haven't had that for decades. They don't have rail guns. What are you talking about? Are you a conspiracy theorist? You've been drinking that Jonestown Kool-Aid again. We don't have rail guns and directed energy weapons. That's sci-fi. You must be a conspiracy theorist. Mark Gunzinger thinks directed energy-based weapons are having a moment. The weapons, which use focused energy in the forms of lasers, microwaves, and other methods against targets ranging from drone swarms to ballistic missiles, have long drawn the interest of the Department of Defense and its military services, but have been previously relegated largely to the arena of the theoretical. That's about to change, said Gunzinger, a senior fellow at the Center for Strategic and Budgetary Assessments and Resources, on a Tuesday conference call detailing Booz Allen Hamilton's Directed Energy Summit. Booz Allen Hamilton, yeah, there you go. That says it all right there. It's all fun and games till Booz Allen Hamilton says it's real, right? It's shifted from basic education and improving awareness of where these technologies were a year or two ago to now begin to transition the technology to actual capabilities that can be used by U.S. warfighters. See, none of this shit is a fucking... It's coming, man. It's coming. They're going to... Any day now, they're going to get on TV and tell you aliens are invading and that we got to have a worldwide army draft. It's coming, man. It's all coming. They're now admitting to having space-based weapons. They're now admitting to having directed energy weapons. 2-3 years ago and back, they would always tell you that's a conspiracy theory. I mean, they're getting ready to fucking roll this stuff out, folks. No ifs, ands, or buts. Wild, wild, fucking crazy shit. All right. That's all I got, folks. Hit the download shop. Hit up our contribution fundraisers. Please make a contribution so I can continue to get some work done and get these movies out. I can't do anything without you, and we have very little here to operate on. I mean, we really do. After barely making it back, finally being back to broadcast yesterday, I'm just trying to get some more money in the kitty so I can fucking survive and stay afloat long enough to get these movies out. So do what you can, make a contribution, get a subscription to the archives, get some downloads, hit us with some cash. You know, I appreciate every amount, but we really need some big amounts right now because we have not had that in quite a while, and that's what we need. If you can help us with big amounts, please do so. I love each and every one of you. I can't do any of this without you, and I love to have all of you on my side in this fight as we continue to do what we can. It's not all hopeless, man. We can still wake people up, and we can still inform ourselves, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. When you go to bed at night or you go to your deathbed at the end of your life, at least we're going to know we tried and we did our best. Maybe we didn't change the world, but God damn it, we fucking tried. And trying's better than doing nothing like the rest of these fucking slave sheep out there. You know what I'm saying? I love you guys. Please donate and help my work, and we'll see you next time. Take care.